It's finally spring! Apparently. And this means that large supermarkets around here now have in their seasonal aisle some gardening goods. So having a browse around some of my local supermarkets and managing to drag myself away from these gorgeous mini pots. Seriously, if anyone can think of anything that they want to see done in a tiny plant pot, I'm seriously tempted with the idea of an Audrey too. Comment down below if you know what I'm talking about there. I dragged myself away from the mini pots and found out that there's the garden wire section. So this footage is from my local Asda, and you can see I was super lucky in Asda that they have 3 different types of wire. Other supermarkets tend to have 1 type of garden wire, but I thought I'd grab some, test it out for you guys just to see if it was any good. So I've got the 3 types from Asda and 1 type from Tesco. So what we have from Asda is a 50-metre light duty garden wire. This says it's 1mm thickness. I will in the comments down below put what that relates to roughly in gauge. We have 30-metre heavy duty garden wire. This is 2mm in thickness. Seems like so much more stuff, but this is actually 50 meters and this is 30 meters. And 20 meters galvanized wire, and this is 1mm in thickness. So the same thickness as this coated wire. And from Tesco's we also had 30 meters of heavy duty coated garden wire. And this doesn't anywhere tell us how thick it actually is, but it's saying 30 meters heavy duty, and this from Asda is saying 30 meters heavy duty. So we'll get to compare and contrast, but at the minute I'm reckoning this is heavier duty than this. So what we'll do with each of these, we'll make a similar sized wire armature using my large dog wire armature tutorial that I'll have in the cards above, and I'll just compare how easy it is to make, and then we'll do a little test to see how strong they all are. So what do I think of these wires? Well, the 1mm thick coated wire from Asda, it is just too soft to work with. Even at this tiny size, it's barely holding its shape. It certainly isn't going to be holding its weight for much any pressure on it, and it's just buckling. I would say for anything but the very, very smallest of sculptures, or something like the veins in a wing, the fingers in a wing, something where you just need a little tiny extra support, but it's not bearing any kind of weight. Otherwise, nope. The 2mm thick coated wire from Asda. This, very much the opposite problem. This was quite a bit of a pig to work with at this scale, in that it's very, very heavy duty. So I would say no on this unless you're making very large sculptures. It's difficult to bend in position, it's difficult to work with, it's just too stiff. The 1mm galvanized wire from Asda. It's like Goldilocks. First one was too weak, second one's too strong. This one was just right. The only trouble I found was getting it out of the roll. It was difficult to get it out kind of without kinks in it. But if I hadn't been lazy and undone all the wire so it could come out easily, it would be perfect. But it is just the right... Whoops. But it is just the right level between... firm enough that it's really holding its shape, it's got some power, but it was also quite nice to use. I can bend it with my fingers. I'm totally happy with that. So that's a keeper. And the Tesco's coated wire of unspecified thickness, but they called it heavy duty wire. This is again very similar to the last one, to the galvanized wire, in that it's just about right. It is slightly more flexible than the galvanized wire, just ever so slightly, but it was quite nice to work with. It does what it wants. It does what I want. I've actually been purchasing and using this for a couple of years. I'm happy with this. For anything up to about a 5-inch sculpture, it's going to hold its weight pretty well. If you're going for something bigger, you'll need a stronger wire, probably the galvanized wire. So what I'm going to say is, even knowing the thickness of the wire doesn't necessarily tell us everything we need to know. Sometimes it's good to get our hands on them and actually feel how much they bend. So I would say in the supermarket, if you see these, I would maybe just try and pinch at the wire, have a wee bend at just the very end of the wire, and see what you think of the thickness of it. At £1 a roll, it doesn't hurt to buy a couple of rolls and try them out and see what you prefer, and then stock up. But definitely, I'm going to say, if your supermarket's stocking up on gardening wire just now, or at the garden centre you see some wire, it's worth giving it a try. It's a reasonable price and it's easy to get hold of. So if you let me know in the comments down below, what kind of wire do you use for your sculptures? Have you found gardening wire helpful? So if you're wanting to craft your career with supplies, equipment and technique tutorials, don't forget, I'm Pam Duthie and I make videos like this every Wednesday. If you enjoyed this, don't forget, click on my wee face to subscribe, check out the video that YouTube wants you to watch, and come back every Wednesday. Thank you so much.